Alright, I'm back. I'm very late with this video. I'm very sorry, but between work and constructions or renovations or whatever the hell they're doing outside, it's just been a very busy week and not a good time for filming. I'm actually just back from a mini-con, so I got a little Mothman plushie, and he's adorable. But sadly, they didn't have very much or anime stuff that I overly wanted. Anyhow, going into Whole Cake Island. Where do I even start? I adored this arc so very much. It is going to be impossible to rank any of these arcs pre or post time skip just because I love them all for so many different reasons. No secret that I love One Piece for its found family and just family vibes and themes. So Big Mom, putting aside everything with Sanji's family, just Big Mom and her family alone puts this as one of my favorite arcs. Between katakuri and pudding and I'm terrible with names. Lola's twin, is it chiffon? And Luffy calls the other one branch brulee, maybe. I love Big Mom's family, or at least Big Mom's children, so very much. And the trauma I forgot about the mermaid one, who's married to, is it Aladdin? I love her children so very much. They are all traumatized by her in different ways. So Katakuri, who I have been told is a very much a fan favorite, and I've already subscribed to one channel that apparently talks about him a lot, and I'm looking forward to being caught up so I can actually watch those videos. But how he didn't really care too much about his appearance at one point in time. The big mouth comes down like a snake to eat everything. And so as a kid, he didn't care what anyone said about it. But then they went after his sister, and he's very big on protecting family, so he had to hide his mouth to prevent anyone from picking on his family. And then how everyone looks up to him as like he is the best, he's the greatest, he can do no wrong, and he has this high standard that he holds himself to, and how protective he is towards his family and his siblings. I love this man so very much. Give him all the donuts. Don't get me wrong, I white-beard pirate fan through and through, but like the Big Mom sibling ones, I'm second place for my favorites outside the Straw Hats. Then of course, I'll talk about the rest of them as I go through. Let's start at the beginning rather than me just rambling about how much I love Big Mom's family and the trauma she put those kids through. Like they all like. The mermaid one is like, yeah, I'll betray Big Mom. I'm in love with you. That's fine. Lola's twin, I'm going to call her Chiffon. I'll look up if that's her name in a minute. Being like, I have my family now. Big Mom had traumatized me just because I looked like my sister, and I can't deal with it anymore. I have my husband. I have his family. I have our son. Like, this is where my loyalty lies. Putting the psychological torture that she had been put through by Big Mom, saying, even as my daughter, you're so hideous with that third eye. And then how she pretty much becomes like a split personality the second Sanji compliments her and accepts her without hesitation. I love this family so very much. It's twisted dynamics, but mostly Katakuri, just because of how protective he is of his siblings. Okay, back actually to the beginning. So we start with Petro's actual death, who he is actually dead. And this will be my first criticism of the arc, probably my only criticism of the arc. I did not care. I did not care about this character at all. I don't know if that's not a popular opinion, but nothing about him really stood out to me personally. And when he died, I'm just like, okay, yep, good sacrifice was needed for the plot to move along. So seeing everyone grieve for him and saying not to waste his sacrifice, I'm like, yeah, because the plot needs to keep going, so let's go. Big Mom goes and she's coming after them to attack the Sunny. I got mad at Jinbe, my darling love, for just a second when he said something about, it was very casual what he said about destroying the Sunny. I should get the exact quote. Yeah, he says, the rest of you stay back. We must be prepared to abandon the ship if need be. Jinbe, we do not abandon the Sunny, ever. That is not an option. However, thankfully, all was forgiven because when Big Mom had a big tidal wave coming after him, he steered it and, being the helmsman, pretty much treated this thing like a sailboat and just like surfed the wave, and thankfully, everyone else thought the wave killed them, so it allowed them to sneak away for a little bit longer. Meanwhile, Luffy is in the mirror world fighting Katakuri in probably one of my favorite fights of the series so far. One of, not the, but one of. Katakuri's mochi powers, which I love mochi so very much, it's delicious. Versus Luffy's gum gum fruit powers was extremely entertaining because it's a very good, it's similar to rubber, and he's able to move it out of the way and combine that with his observational haki. Like, this is a strong fight against Luffy, especially because he is not underestimating Luffy the way enemies have in the past. Then you have Brule hyping up her brother, saying he is the best of the best. His back has never touched the ground. He, like, born even then didn't lie down. And then Luffy hears them planning to attack the Sunny through the mirror, so he has Nami break all the mirrors, and then when everyone thinks the ship has crashed, it's because they've broken all the mirrors, and all they see is seawater, and like, oh, the Sunny must be down. But Brule, he hears Nami tell Luffy, we're going to meet up on this other island, probably the island with the wedding cake that Sanji's making, and Luffy is prepared to continue to fight Katakuri, and Luffy is overwhelmed, like, almost immediately. He has to eat his way out through the mochi, and Katakuri ends up being in this little house because it's tea time. And then when Luffy breaks down the roof of it, it's him laying down eating donuts. And when he gets out, everyone's just like, "Oh God, we seen your true face, and we saw you lying down relaxing. This is terrible. We didn't see anything." So Katakuri ends up killing the chefs, which I don't think is out of character considering I barely know his character, but that seemed a little cruel. I'm not quite sure why he attacks them, but anywho, the fight continues, and it really turns into Luffy learning how to increase his own observational haki during this fight, and he's giving it all he's got. He's going into gear 4. Katakuri just is too much for him with his own devil fruit powers, being able to predict where the hits will land and reform his body to avoid it. And gear 4 is wearing off, so he has to kidnap Brule, I'm just calling her Branch because I can pronounce that for sure, takes Branch through the mirrors to get away from him while he has to recover because he can't use haki anymore. Highlight of that first part of the fight, 100% is going to be Luffy eating his way out through the mochi and being like, do I have to eat all your guys' attacks when I'm in this village or town island? And it's beautiful. On the sidelines, we have Sanji's family easily defeating Big Mom's army subordinates people, and they fake a transmission to say that the Vinsmokes had lost when really they had won, so they're now in the background waiting to make their move. We got pekoms, who I do love. I don't know why I love pekoms so much more than the Jaguar guy, but I just do. So pekoms, our wonderful turtle fruit man, is crying over Pedro. I don't know why I didn't care for Pedro. I keep forgetting his name. Crying over his death, and I guess that's enough to make him overlook the fact that Luffy had more or less betrayed him to work with the castle guy against Big Mom, and I don't overly like that because I wanted a bit more conflict between Peckham's seeing his conflict and loyalty towards Big Mom versus the saviors of his hometown with Luffy, because they did make a point that in working with our gangster guy, it would be essentially betraying Peckham's. So I wish something had come from that, but at the end of the day, he chose the loyalty to his family, his hometown, or his home village, and gratitude towards Luffy, and put on a not a good disguise to go save Luffy and honor Pedro's sacrifice. And I will say I am interested in what Pedro was saying about a new dawn or new age coming and those who's going to bring it forth. So his faith in a prophecy, I'm assuming related to the Straw Hats. Then you have Stussy? The girl who looks like she should be from The Great Gatsby, as well as the newspaper guy, revealing that the box that exploded was from Fishman Island and had been given to Big Mom by the Straw Hats. So they're like, hey, we're the Straw Hats planning this all along. And I think it's like building up what Luffy's threat level is. Like, this wasn't just some guy who came into the island on a whim and attacked. No, he had set up this plan because he had sent a bomb ahead of time, when really that was all a coincidence. But I love that because it's giving Luffy this, I don't know. I'll go with like infamy or smarts smarts to a plan that he didn't really have. So I really like that addition. Sanji and Chiffon, can I just call her Lola's sister? I feel like I'm saying her name wrong. And Pudding go to the other island to work on the wedding cake. Chiffon is working on the pastry side. Pudding's handling the chocolate. Sanji's dealing with some kind of cream. And it's apparently going to be the best cream ever that's going to make everyone happy and satisfied, and it'll knock Big Mom out because it's so good. And it's an important part to the story, but it wasn't all that entertaining. I did like that Lola and her twins' father end up seeing them and end up in a fight with Oven to try to get to his daughter and protect his daughter, and seeing that, because he hasn't seen her in years. Big Mom took his family away from him, and he just wants to be a good father and protect her. So when they're leaving and Oven attacks, Sanji has to use the father as a distraction to fight Oven to protect Chiffon because she had betrayed the Big Mom pirates to side with her husband. And I like that interaction. Then you had him delaying Oven long enough, and Oven end up killing the father, and he's like saying goodbye to Chiffon as she sails away with her husband and father, and he's seeing his grandson for the first time, so it was a really good moment. I really just like Chiffon and her husband and the kid and his whole crew. They are a fantastic addition. I want to see more from them in the future, because she was saying, no, don't come back for me, and her husband's just like, the hell with that, I'm coming to get you. So they're sailing away with the wedding cake to calm Big Mom down to give her. But all Big Mom's pirates are like, they must have poisoned it. Meanwhile, the Castle man, he's just like, hey, let's poison it. And Sanji's like, no, you are not poisoning anything I cooked. I'm here to feed somebody. You're not doing that to my work. And Pudding is just the entire time being her split personality self, going back and forth between her love for Sanji and her hatred of Sanji, and being loyal to Big Mom, but also wanting to help the Straw Hats because of her love for Sanji. And I love Pudding so very much. That's right, when she calls him Sanji dear, that's just so cute. It is very cute. All right, Big Mom's forces are still attacking the Sunny now that they found them again, and it's Carrot who is not going to allow the boat to go down. God love Carrot. She transforms into a Sulang form, I think. Just magic girl, magic bunny transformation. It's wonderful. Apparently, you kind of lose all control. She goes out and just destroys the ships. Like, taking the wheel, knocking down masts. She is taking out this entire armada by herself. Happens when someone from Zoro looks at the moon in a certain way. I'm wondering if there's a Dragon Ball reference there. Brook's not letting her have all the fun. God love Brook. He runs across the water because he's so light, just going yo-ho all the way through, and helps with that and saving her, because this transformation puts a lot of strain on the body, and if she didn't like cover her eyes and stop looking at the moon, and it could have destroyed herself and she would have died there. But he takes her back to the Sunny. All is well. 2 MVPs. I love them very much, and I love this transformation. Can we keep Carrot on the crew? Are we keeping Carrot on the crew? I think so. I would hope so, because I don't think we're going back to Zoro right away. I think we're going to Wano after this. So we're keeping her for a little while longer, and that's a great addition. Big Mom is kind of wasting away. She's not as big. She's like shrinking down in her rage and hunger, which leads me to a side point. If they didn't give her a wedding cake to calm down her cravings, would she have just died? Because is that a bad thing? Just saying. Could they have just waited her out as an option? But anywho, she has summoned Prometheus and is ready to go destroy the Sunny, but Nami is just like, goes a little bit dark and is like, hey Prometheus, I wasn't asking you to be my friend, I was asking you to be my servant. takes control of lightning. Zoom! I love Nami. I love her powers. It was fantastic. Side note: Brook sliced Prometheus because Zeus is the clout, but Nami got Zeus. Either way, worked fantastically. So they take down Big Mom. They continue to get away. She's still in her ravenous going after looking for that wedding cake. And again, while I like the childhood trauma of not being able to control cravings, and I like her as an unstoppable monster, it is a little bit repetitive. Big Mom smells the wedding cake, and that's really the main reason she leaves the Sunny alone. So she's gone after the wedding cake. Meanwhile, on Cocoa Village, they have broken all the mirrors except one, thinking Luffy or Katakuri is going to come out of there, and they'll be able to get Luffy. Meanwhile, Luffy is still fighting Katakuri when one of his sisters shows up, and this woman, she wants to be the favorite sister. She is the head of the Katakuri fan club. So she wants to help her brother, and to do this, she takes, I guess, a poison dart or a dart to stun or anesthetize someone, shoots that at Luffy so he can no longer dodge the attacks, gives him a little bit of, he's a little evet now. So Katakuri can get a really damaging blow to Luffy's gut. But then Katakuri realizes what's happened, and he calls his sister out, like, how dare you? Why would you interfere in my fight? This isn't good. Removes his scarf thing to show his mouth, and now this sister, who had been hyping him up, said he's the best, how she's his #1 fan, and she wants to be the favorite sister, and how proud and happy and praising her older brother. That's her entire personality trait. The second she sees his real face, she's like, you monster. How, you're not my perfect brother. This is disgusting looking. The way she turns on him, it was pathetic. In a good way, like writing-wise. So then, Katakuri unleashes his haki to knock out everyone in the room. Both Luffy and Katakuri release their Katakuri's haki to knock everybody out, which was another amazing scene. But before that, he gives himself a damaging blow in the same place he had hit Luffy to even out the fight. Because honorable fight, loves his family, loves donuts. I love this man so very much. So they're continuing the fight, and it really isn't like an enemy versus enemy. It is a let me test my strength against yours in a respectful fight, and we're going to see who comes out on top. Luffy has advanced so much in his observational haki through fighting Katakuri, and it is perfect. And Katakuri definitely has respect for Luffy by the end of this. Luffy's final attack is like his arm goes one way, but then it snakes around at an angle and punches Katakuri. And once again, I have described Luffy as being a Looney Tune. That is a Looney Tune character's attack right there. So at the end, they both fall down. They're both exhausted, but Luffy is the one to stand up. And I think Katakuri is seeing just a glimpse into the future of what Luffy is going to accomplish. But completely exhausted, Luffy got nothing real left. He needs to rest. That is when pekoms comes in his terrible disguise to help him out and take him out of the mirror world. And Pedro was the one who could knock pekoms out of the so long form. So when he gets out there, he intends to transform and attack everybody, possibly sacrificing his own life to save Luffy. But he ends up being overwhelmed, and it's Sanji who gets to Luffy to get them away. Sanji is running through the town, doing everything he can to protect Luffy in his exhausted state to get away, but overwhelmed by the sheer number of people who were prepared and waiting for them to reemerge, because everyone around is completely pissed. They are convinced Luffy must have done some sneaky underhand method, because that's the only way their beloved Katakuri could lose. Just when it looks like they're about to take Sanji out, his family returns, his brothers and sisters, and they protect him. Sort of to make amends, but mostly as revenge to take down the people who set them up in a trap. So then Sanji, with one final goodbye, leaves his family to return to the Sunny. Sanji's not father, Judge, calls out to Luffy, like, why do you want this failure on your crew? He's compassionate. He has no care for his royal standing and pride and being of his bloodline. All he wants to do is cook, and just listing all Sanji's attributes, and as if to say he's a failure, and Luffy's just like, yeah, I got that. Bye, thanks for the help. Sanji, why is he listing all your good qualities? And Sanji's like, he did not mean them as a compliment. And it's a wonderful little moment. Now the Sunny is trying to get away, but Big Mom's fleet is again upon them. And it is the Sun Pirates who come to save the day. They had previously got the slugs or something out of the sea, which is a different version of the transponder snails for location, I guess, devices or tracking, and kept them away. And now their fleet is coming to buy them time to get away. But Oven comes and he is burning the ocean. The ocean is boiling, and the Sun Pirates can't stay that long. The sea monkey guy from Fishman Island, his loyalty to Boss Jinbe and the Sun Pirates is perfect and incredible. It's just like, I was your enemy. You took me in when you didn't have to. I will help you escape. Puts the Sunny in his mouth and replaces their ship with one of an important Sun Pirate ship, and it gets destroyed, trying to fake out the Big Mom Pirates, but tries to get away, but of course the heat too much, had to spit them out. And I would have been so upset if Jinbe had just left the Sun Pirates to die and fight by themselves against Big Mom's fleet in order for him and the Straw Hats to get away. But of course, Boss Jinbe does not do that. So instead, he says, Luffy, you go on ahead. I need to stay with my men. I need to help them fight. I will cover the rear attack to get you time to away, and we'll meet up later. And Luffy looks at him and is just like, remember, I'm your captain now. So make sure you come back alive. I will meet you in Wano. And it is a strong moment, and I love it. So Jinbe goes to his friends and his crew, and they're like, you couldn't just let us send you off, my friend. Like, you didn't trust us to do this. And he's just like, I'm going to make sure we all get out of here alive. So they hold them off while the Sunny goes on. Big Mom gets to the cake, and she, of course, gobbles it all up, and she says it's the best cake she's ever had. Tastes delicious. Sanji's flavors knock her out from pure happiness and bliss. And once again, would it have been so bad? Like, would she have died if that craving was not met? Because if so, that's an easy way to take her out. Then you have Branch going to her brother in his weakened state, and she's caring for him. She doesn't care about his face, and it's revealed that she had been targeted by other children in their past, and that's how she got that big long scar, because they knew they couldn't fight Katakuri, so they went after his siblings. So she was injured on his behalf, which is why he hides his face to not draw attention to himself, to another method of protecting his family. And I love that. I love her. I love the Big Mom Pirates. Yeah, if I have to rank them, Katakuri, then Branch, Chiffon, and Pudding are probably tied. And then the mermaid one at number 5, mostly because I like her design, but she's also willing to betray Big Mom to go with the Sun Pirates. So I love her too. What's the end? The ending was also just thematically perfect. So the first 2/3 of this arc were really heavily Sanji focused. He wasn't that prominent in the last half other than to make that cake. But it ends with him paralleling Zeph with, they said a pirate came onto the floating restaurant and was causing havoc or whatever. But he's just like, if you come onto this boat and you're hungry, I will feed you. We will discuss payment later. Paralleling with Sanji saying, I will cook your food. And it's just the two of them, like, back to back in the panels, even though they're oceans apart, showing their similarities, and that Sanji's true father, the man who loved and raised him. And it is beautiful. It is an excellent send-off thematically to this arc and saga. I loved it so very much. I don't think there was too much to say about this last arc. Let me see if I got anything in my notes that I need to make sure I touched on. Oh, Sanji, when he first went to the bakery to make the cake, he's like, yeah, I reverse engineered your secret recipe based on the smell. And they're like, you got it exactly right, including the secret ingredient. This is incredible. Just showing off Sanji's like skills as a chef, that was perfect. Okay, one of my favorite moments. Luffy says, we'll be waiting in Wano, so you better show up. Jinbei says, I'm in your debt. And Luffy responds, Don't let even death stop you. Like, he's not losing Jinbe. All right, Whole Cake Island community tab questions. Okay, there's a bunch of Rizo is safe because people still think it was for the Zoe questions, but yes, it's still one of my favorite moments in the entire series. Rizo is safe, 1,000% hardest hitting moment of the series. Like this comment, not even the children ratted him out. Agreed. Okay, still talking about Zoe, but thoughts about how Zoro cared about Sanji's situation. I'm pretty sure I addressed it back in that section. However, I'll talk about it again because they have such a hostile relationship where they're always arguing and bickering and fighting with each other. But the thought of Sanji being in trouble or leaving definitely upset Zoro to the point that he was waiting outside the hut when they were talking to the Cat King and listening to everything that was going on. He was angry about his friends leaving, but he was definitely still worried about him, even though he said he was going to be coming, Sanji was going to be coming back and Luffy was going to go get him. The concern that he had, because the way they fight and protect Luffy, they care about each other so much, and that just little moments with Zoro. He never has to come out and say it. It's all in his actions. So I love that moment with him. All right, talking about how Sanji was shamed for his love of cooking by the Vinsmokes, because Vinsmokes do not serve. Like, it had no purpose. It's beneath them. Meanwhile, in this arc, his cooking is what saves the day and stops Big Mom. So his compassion for others, his love of cooking, the joy it brings him, how it reminds him of his mother, how he can help people, his backstory through starving and never wanting anyone to go through something like that. It is an important part of his character. It's my favorite part of his character, and seeing it come to fruition and his family recognizing, at least they should, that is what saved them, that is what stopped Big Mom, was perfect. I definitely liked it from their family's side as well, the idea of we don't serve, cooking is beneath you, and we're above everyone, so it's just an interesting dynamic between the two. So just good on Oda's part for creating those characters. What are your thoughts on how Oda split up the Straw Hat arc like he did for Dressrosa? I like it, personally, because the Straw Hats have such a complete, like, it's a big cast of characters and crew that we wouldn't have been able to focus on all of them, so I like giving everyone their little moments to shine. This really obviously focusing on Sanji. Brook, highlight of so many moments. I love it when he fights, when he's on scene. He's just taking care of everything. Nami with her moments, especially with Zeus and her lightning powers and control, is just improving. And seeing her caring about Sanji and being worried for him and thinking he's not coming back and fearing for him. And then Luffy just being the delight that he always is. I feel if we added any more characters to it, it just would have been too much. We would have lost stuff with Pedro and Pekoms and Beige, Pudding, and just the Big Mom family. It would have had to be an even longer arc, and it probably would have started to drag with pacing if we had to also incorporate moments for all the other Straw Hats. So personally, I like that we're splitting up the crew, and I'm looking forward to when they join back up and come together again. Like, I can't be excited for them to come back together if they don't split up. Okay, question number 1. How do you feel about Pudding? Love Pudding. Love the dynamics in her character. Love her split personality. I said I want Sanji to have like a crazy girlfriend, toxic relationship. That's what I want in, if we're going to have a relationship in One Piece, I'm fine with that one, because that's just going to be entertaining as hell. I love the Big Mom Pirates. I love the Charlotte family. And I love her backstory about being criticized for how she looks and Sanji accepting her, and that just broke her mind that someone could love her for herself. Love that. And she betrayed me. She betrayed me. I was angry. I didn't see it coming. And then she turned back around to protect Sanji, and I loved it. Her character powers. Oh, I didn't even talk about her powers. The ability to take away and manipulate people's minds. One, that is cool. Not minds, memories. I love that idea. Ooh, back to my Roger being the ultimate big bad villain theory. I had said that the only way it would probably work is if he manipulated his crew into thinking he was a good guy, because his crew are all awesome, wonderful people, and they would never follow an evil pirate. So he would have had to manipulate their minds and memories. Just saying. it now works in my tinfoil hat theory. Going back to her powers, there was a moment when she's in love with Sanji. She kisses him. They're falling in love, and then she removes those memories. Why wouldn't she leave that memory with Sanji? Was she embarrassed? Did she not know how it go? I'm going with the fear of rejection. She didn't want him to reject her, but it's a cute moment on her end. She misses him. It's sad. I want them to be reunited at some point. Oh, did her betrayal catch you off guard? Yes, it did. Did not see that coming for a second. I didn't see her having to switch to go back and help the Straw Hats and really be helping Sanji. Betrayal of Big Mom, did not see that coming at all. Most people don't like pudding. Why don't people like pudding? I love pudding. Oh, I disagree with the fans if they don't like pudding. Katakuri, how do you find his philosophy on perfection? So good. Like he's holding himself up to the level of perfection because of his family and needing to protect his siblings, and being this idolized version of the older big brother who can do no wrong. I love Katakuri and everything. I think I've gushed about him enough. Relationship with Brule is my favorite of the sibling dynamics. Of all the siblings, their dynamic was my favorite. Being bullied as a kid, getting that scar because of him, how he handled it as a child, and now he's doing everything to protect them as adults and hiding his face, even though he didn't care, but it put his siblings in harm's way. I love Katakuri and Brule's relationship. I'm going to keep calling her Branch, though, because I know I'm saying that right. Feelings of Big Mom as a Yonko. I think she fits fine. She's extremely powerful, force of nature, doesn't care about money or anything like that, just her territory and sweets, and can take people's souls and lifespans. I think she's a good Yonko. It's different than what I've experienced so far. She's definitely different than Shanks. She's definitely different than Whitebeard. I imagine she's going to be different than Kaido. I'm going with Kaido. So just Oda being able to differentiate so many different characters in this high levels of power, I like it. Do you think her treatment screaming wedding cake for almost a third of the arc made her less threatening? Most people feel she was mishandled, but I usually justify this as her being unique. I think it might have been overplayed slightly. However, again, I did like it as I'm reflecting back as her as a child and never learning any kind of control of her emotions and her wants and her needs. It was just everyone kind of has to deal with this because this is who Lin is, and she never learned to control herself and what she wants. So childhood trauma from very bad parenting in the not good orphanage. So I like the idea of what it was meant, I assume, meant to portray, but yeah, just screaming wedding cake a lot was a little bit repetitive and a bit much, but not to a point that I'd complain. Big Mom as a mother. I love toxic family relationships, so I love this. She's a terrible mother. She killed her own children. She manipulates, she traumatized them, and half her kids are ready to betray her and see her downfall. So character-wise, entertaining, and I love it. Actual character and human being, I hate this woman. Her ideas of building the perfect society to accommodate all races. So I like the idea of she wants this harmony and just world where everyone lives in peace under her domain and rule, but she's doing it in a way that is controlling and dictatorship, and everyone has to bend to her will and her needs. And her idea of everyone being treated equally is to turn everyone into giants, so we're all the same size, and rather than adjust her world to accommodate everyone just has to accommodate to the world she wants. And I love that. It's bad. She is bad. She is wrong. But it's just a really interesting theme to explore, and I hope we come back to it eventually and what her end goal plan is and her wants. I just want to explore it more, but I like this idea that she has. Vin Smokes, Judge, die. He can die painfully, slowly and painfully. Who I'm most certain is on your list. Yes, correct. He is now on my list. I need to revisit my list, but he is up there. My favorite thing about Judge, though, is that he still has his emotions. He can feel fear and shame and betrayal and fear for his life when he thought he was going to die, but he has taken away the emotions of his other sons. So they're just like, oh, we've been betrayed. We're going to die. We don't have our weapons or our suits. Yep, that's it for us. No big deal. And then the way he so coldly tossed out Sanji, the way he threatened to blow off his hands, the one thing that he values, his skill as a cook. This man is terrible, horrible. And saying to cast him out and say, I'm ashamed to be your father, don't even use my name. He is one of the worst villains and worst fathers in One Piece. He is despicable. Yes, he can go die in a hole somewhere. Did this arc change your perspective on Sanji? Yes, it did, 100%. I have moved past trying to forget about the many issues I had with him in the past, mainly for the statement that someone had said in a comment that I'm pretty sure they said Murphy Napier had said. Sanji being someone who feels everything in extremes, and we're assuming it's because of the potion medicine that his mother had taken. So he feels everything in extreme. There's no middle ground. So his commitment and respect for Zeph, so taking his dinosaur thinking of women have to be protected at all costs to the extreme. Falling in love to the extreme. Feeling passion to the extreme. So he can never just be chill. He is always in one extreme or the other. And it's a different character. I appreciate that for a character. I just wish we could lose the pervy jokes. Or tone them down. That's all I ask. Tone down. They don't have to go away. Like, by Water 7, he was one of my favorite Straw Hats. So if we can go back to that level, would love it. So yes, knowing his backstory, knowing his family history has improved my thoughts of him as a character. But a lot of the stuff he does, it doesn't justify why he does. I just have to forget about it to move on to enjoy this series. Any thoughts on Kaido, especially after Big Mom's brief statement in 871? What'd she say in 871? First of all, 871. Our beloved boy selling Luffy pins. Love it. Or giving away Luffy pins. Okay, not saying anything about Kaido yet, but Luffy, when Sanji's trying to get him away and Big Mom's still attacking the city after she's had her wedding cake, and he has to go to Gear 4 to try to fight her, and he's like, the one who will end up as king of the pirates won't be you, it'll be me. I love it whenever Luffy declares that he's going to be king of the pirates, because she's just like, you said in Fishman Island that you're going to come kick my butt and take my territory. What do you have to say now? And then he's just like, throws hands, I'm going to be king of the pirates. Love it. Love Luffy. Once I take care of Kaido, I'm coming back for you, Big Mom. And then Sanji grabs him and they're running. Kaido, and then she laughs. Oh, that's not going to happen. You'll never beat that thing. And more importantly, what makes you think you'll escape my territory alive? Stop dreaming. So in terms of thoughts for Kaido, I'm assuming he's just the next big bad. I don't really have any expectations yet. I know he's been trying to kill himself because his hobby is trying to commit suicide. Doesn't work. He's too powerful. I know Kid showed up. I'm assuming Kid got beat. Or maybe now is working for Kaido. I know he has an army of Zoan users from human-made devil fruits. He's probably going to be mad at Caesar. He's definitely mad at Luffy for what happened in Dressrosa. And he's very, very powerful and very scary, to the point that another emperor is just like, he's not human, he's a thing. So, going to be an interesting villain to come across. Feelings of Sanji having a raid suit. Did he get a raid suit? I don't even remember. It's been like over a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks since I finished this arc. Do I think he'll use it? Would he use the weapon of the people he hates? Or would he connect that to his trauma and not want to rely on them? If we're moving past our childhood trauma and the hatred we have towards Judge, then he probably would use it to protect Luffy and Nami and the rest of the crew. But I think Sanji can stand with his own power, that he doesn't need it and doesn't feel that he should have to rely on his family's name or their money or their technology. He can make it on his own, so I figured he'd get rid of it. Opinion on Jinbe technically joining the crew for the second time, still not joining. My darling love Jinbe. Boss Jinbe needs to hurry up and stay on the Sunny, and they're not allowed to let him leave. But again, I understand. I would have been upset with him if he abandoned his crew, so he had to stay to protect them. So next time he's staying. All right, compare the last page of chapter 67, that was a long time ago, when Sanji gets kicked out of the floating restaurant, and the last page of 850, when Sanji hears pudding. Oh, yeah, they're both crying, but for different reasons. Yeah, I think I know what we're comparing. So in 850, we're distraught. We've been betrayed. The one little ray of hope that he thought he had for a happy life in the future going forward has been taken away and destroyed. Hearing someone he thought cared about him say that he means nothing to her and it's all a ruse to kill him, he's distraught. He's devastated. Whereas if I go to 65, I assume that's going to be hearing people talk bad about him and kick him out so that he will better himself and be better in the future because they love him. All right, so they call him a bad cook. You'll never be able to cook like me. Big baby eggplants. I've cooked all the oceans of the world instead of kicking and punching him. They're saying his soup's not good. And then Luffy says, but the soup's really good. And they're like, we know, man, I was scared of his temper. We all know that Sanji's a great chef, but if we don't do something like this, he won't listen. And then Zeph asks Luffy to take Sanji with him. The Grand Line is his dream. That was a mean thing Chef made us do. I was sweating through my jacket. They're all saying how much they care and love for Sanji, and Sanji's out there, head in his lap, saying, I can hear you, you crap jerks. So I assume just different ways that he learned the truth about how people feel about him. If you could ask Pudding to delete your One Piece memories to an extent of your choosing, what would you choose? I mean, I could choose to forget all Sanji's terrible moments, or I could just have Pudding erase all memories of One Piece in general and start the series fresh, knowing nothing. None of the spoilers are new, none of the expectations, nothing I've learned along the way, and just experience it for the first time again. That sounds perfect. That being said, I'd have to go through the trauma that was Marineford, and I am still shocked that had not been spoiled for me, considering I existed on the internet, how I avoided that One Piece spoiler with Ace. Don't know how that happened. I was traumatized by that arc, and then the post-war arc. I don't think I could physically take it to go through that a second time. However, if we're getting memories erased, I'll also take erasing my memory of Naruto, because if I had to experience the Itachi reveal again, it would kill me. I'd die of dehydration from crying so much, because I'm pretty sure that almost took teenage me out. Whole Cake Island is where underdog Brook shines, and a newly development for Sanji. Agreed. I love Brook so very much. I love his fight scenes. I love how he's drawn. I love his laugh. I love his lines. I love how effective he is at just getting everything done. I love Brook so very much. So far, what cover story caught your attention the most? My darling love, Bartolomeo. Going on the, spreading the good word of the Straw Hat Pirates and our savior, Monkey D. Luffy, and spreading that everywhere, and fighting pirates, and burning down one of Shanks's flags. I need to see what happens from that event. My money is on Shanks is going to laugh and become friends with Bartolomeo and being like, it's cool, I'm good with Luffy. I'm going with that's what's actually going to happen, but if there was drama or beef or someone mistook or started a rumor that the Straw Hats were enemies of the red-haired pirates, oh my god. The laugh that they would have. I want that. I want that storyline to continue. Oh yeah, I do need to look into some of the musical moments. I just haven't bothered with the anime recently. I really, really should try some now that we're further in the series. Just Whole Cake Island is very long. Once we get to Wano, I'll watch like the episode 1000, I think I would assume it is. But I'll also watch some of the Wano arc. Let me know if I should read the first little bit of the Wano manga, or if I should try experiencing the anime again, having no idea what's about to happen. Oh, now that you know about the paramecia type awakening, what do you think would happen if Pudding awakened her third along with her devil fruit? So I still don't know too much about what her third is, because she was saying that she may never fully awaken it because she's only half of the species that has it. But I would assume with her devil fruit, she would be able to not only manipulate lots of people's memories and probably get memories out of inanimate things, like to be, say if you wanted to track somebody and they walked through a forest, you can get the memory of the forest of everyone who passed through there, kind of thing. I assume that would be an ability. For the third, I'm kind of leaning towards like future seeing kind of powers. Look into the future, maybe. Maybe find somebody, like just wherever they are in the world, you can see them with your mind's eye. I'm not really sure. So anything like that would be very useful and very cool. What do I think the Kozuki family? Really all I know about them is that they're in Wano and they're responsible for the creation of the poneglyphs. What do I think about them? I really got no opinion yet. I assume we're going to like them. I'm assuming they're going to be important. I'm assuming Oda's going to throw some fantastic character writing in there to make me love them even more. But considering the poneglyphs are my favorite aspect of the series, it's like the closest thing we have to a narrative plot line driving the plot forward. I know I'm going to enjoy them because that's the aspect of the story that I love really the most in terms of the narrative plot is the poneglyphs. Oh, she did too. Big Mom also says she's missing 3 races from Whole Cake Island. Any thoughts, any theories or thoughts about those races? So we know she doesn't have giants. She got the ones from Zoe. Who else is she missing? I assume whoever has the 3 eyes. I never gave that any thought of what species or types of people from the island she could be missing. Did she have fishmen? Yeah, she had the sun pirates, so obviously she had them in her island crew. Nope, I got nothing for that. But I would imagine those 3 ones that she's missing is going to band together to attack her and liberate her people. And then when they come to liberate her people, everyone will piece together and they'll actually be all living in harmony. So that's my theory there. Also, what do you think Zoro would have done if he was on Whole Cake Island? Get lost, first of all. I would love to see his response to the people insulting Sanji, to his response to Judge and his brothers, and being like, hey now, I'm the only one who can insult this shitty cook. So you're dealing with me now. I want to see that fight. That would be wonderful. Zoro should have tagged along. I want to see him defending his friend that he always fights with, because he's the only one who gets to insult and fight with Sanji. I would have loved that so very much. I know I said I like the small crew, everyone being split up, because it'd be a lot to handle all the characters at once. Zoro should have tagged along. Okay, here's someone's theory for back when they read Zoe. After Zoe happened, with your thoughts on the ancient weapon being on Zoe, or Zoe is walking towards it. I had both. I actually have theories that you might enjoy the same way that Crybaby Princess, because I can't pronounce, I'm not pronouncing that, I'm just calling her Crybaby Princess, is considered an ancient weapon and can speak to and therefore control the Sea Kings down on Fishman Island, which coincidentally Luffy can hear but not talk to as well. I think it is the same case with Momonosuke's conversation with the elephant and Luffy listening to it. That would explain the crimes that it had committed to be a force to walk eternity as well, and maybe even hint at the command to walk being from the previous person that the ancient weapon Momo now embodies. Okay, so the way that Crybaby Princess controls the Sea Kings and Momonosuke controls the elephant, wouldn't that mean Momonosuke would be the ancient weapon? Okay, so Elephant would have committed the crime, and someone ordered him to walk forever, and Momonosuke is now the new reincarnation or new person with that power that can now control him. See, now I'm going with Momonosuke as the is one of the ultimate weapons, so that's fun. Luffy versus Sanji, incredible fight. not fight. Sanji just beating Luffy and Luffy taking it. And then later on, Luffy finally punching him in the face and being like, tell me what you actually want. Because emotional intelligence of this man, this idiot, but the emotional intelligence that he has to know when someone's not acting like themselves, to know when they're acting against their best interest, when they're acting against their dream and what they truly desire. Luffy knows that. So seeing him trying to understand what's wrong with Sanji, why he's acting this way, and then finally snapping him out of it, and then coming back together, beautiful. Loved it. Luffy gets to have fights where he gets to ease way out of them. Wonderful, wonderful fights. Luffy had a good time, was very well fed by the end of this arc. Oh, people are calling Katakuri the next Whitebeard. I disagree with that. No, there is no next Whitebeard. It is only Whitebeard. I love Whitebeard. But I do love Katakuri. I agree with this statement about Katakuri, one of the top fighters, stand out among the fans, relationship with his family, and his code of honor. His code of honor being why I love him specifically. Even though we joke about him being 48 years old, single, and still living at home with his mom. A very good joke, but we love him anyway. He's still not the next Whitebeard. Tell me, is Brook the MVP of this arc? Of course he is. Of course he is. He stole the poneglyphs right out from and under her. Saved Carrot after she had saved them. Called Big Mom a young lady. And had some of the best lines in this arc. Got the picture to Big Mom to send her on the rampage. This arc could not have existed. They would not have won without Brook, without all of them. But I love Brook. He's standout. Love him so very much. What do you think of how candy food themed this place was? And would you like to live in it? And if so, what island? I will take Chocolate Islands. Thank you very much. Or if mochi is an option, I will also take that because it's delicious. I love ice cream and then the soft, squishy stuff outside. I mean, would you not want to live in a Willy Wonka themed island? It's wonderful. I loved it. It was a unique environment. I still need to watch the anime for the musical moments, and overall, it was great. I'd live there. Would I live there if it meant giving up like 6 months of my life? No. No. I wouldn't do that, but I'd go for a visit, like long weekend. As an avid reader, how hyped do you find that the book fruit was a thing? I like the idea of a book fruit and be able to be trapped in a book. If I'm going to be in a jail cell, let it be a jail that looks like a book. So, love that. I could live in a story. Oh god, please rate 3 most heartbreaking moments of Whole Cake Island. What broke your heart the most? Okay, so number 1 is Sanji realizing Pudding had betrayed them. Honestly, number 2 is probably Lola's father sacrificing himself for his other daughter and seeing his grandson for the first time. That's easy, number 2. Number 3, I want to say Jinbe leaving or staying behind and Luffy saying, I'm your captain, don't let death stop you, you better come back to me. That wasn't so much heartbreaking as determination and being like, don't you dare die on me. So not really heartbreaking. Last one, I guess, would be Luffy's fight against Sanji. The desperation and no, seeing Sanji having to tell Luffy, like, I don't want to be sailing with you anymore. Like, that's not, I'd be happier here with my family, with servants, and getting married to a beautiful woman. Like, that is my dream, not sailing the ocean with you. Why do you think would make me more happy? Because he's lying through his teeth. And obviously, he'd be more happy sailing with the Straw Hat. So, yeah, that. Where would you rank Sanji now? I need to hold off just to see how the next couple chapters will go. Like, I don't know if he's going to fall right back into the pervy borderline sexual assault. So if he can hold off for like 25 chapters, I'll knock him back up into like A to S tier. No crackback theories about Momonosuke yet, but I'm working on that, and that will be discussed along with my tinfoil hat theory with Roger. Wondering if your opinion of Sanji will change after Whole Cake Island. It's currently changed. I just want to see if it holds on to it. So long as we don't slip back into how bad he was before, it'll be okay. I will love him again. He'll probably go above Zoro if he doesn't go back into the too pervy, if he doesn't cross that line again. What do you think of Sanji's father? I hate him. and how Sanji's chivalry actually comes from Zeph, as it should if it had to come from anywhere. Again, Sanji takes things to the extreme, so I love that for his character, even though I don't like the extremes he takes. And how he keeps a vow to Zeph, his true father, who showed a rare moment of a father's love to never hit a woman. He just takes everything to the extremes, like to the point that he died before defending himself against a female opponent. I hate it, but it's a good aspect to his character. It makes him a unique character. I will acknowledge that. How do I feel about knowing the road poneglyphs, which means the end goal is near? I like a good, strong narrative plot storyline, so I'm excited to see them continuing on the quest with a goal end post in mind. So I'm very excited for that, but at the same time, I don't want One Piece to actually end, so there's that. For Whole Cake Island, did you catch the fact that the ceremony was actually finished? The only thing left before everyone crashed the party was the kiss, which ended up happening later. So Sanji is married and he also has no idea about it. This little bit of info always cracks me up. I feel like it wasn't actually married. I feel that counts as not finished / annulled. Someone objected. I feel someone objected in that moment. Also, how quickly did you get the Mother Teresa reference with Mother Caramel? Pretty much instantly. That was not hidden. Yeah, throwing shade. Mother Teresa was actually not the greatest person. Yep. Have you seen some kind of One Piece commercials? No. Okay, so apparently I need to look up these commercials. Okay, knowing Flambe is the favorite sister of everyone but one Charlotte sibling. Who do you think is the older sibling that doesn't consider her the favorite little sister, and who is the one and who is that one person's favorite little sister? Katakuri's favorite sister is Branch / Brule. Oh, and you agree with me. My guess is Katakuri and Brule, but I'm not sure if that's correct or not. That's what I'm going with, 100%. Okay, a couple comment about Sanji leaving felt forced. He should have stayed with the crew on Zou. Shouldn't have left. I mean, he did say he was going to be coming back. He had to leave. He was sort of kidnapped. The only reason he didn't stay behind is they probably would have killed the rest of the crew, so he did have to leave. Fight with Luffy should have never logically taken place. They were in Big Mom's home turf, surrounded by enemies, and Sanji was working on a deal that guaranteed Luffy's safety so long as he stayed and went through with the wedding. He knew what his family was capable of. He knew what Big Mom was capable of, and he was trying to protect Luffy. So he was essentially doing the I've always hated you, leave me alone, run away, because he's doing this for your own good. It's the same tactic Ace used to try to get Luffy to leave, and both times Luffy's just like, I don't believe you, I'm going to stay here and wait for you to come back, or I don't believe you, I'm going to come get you, I'm going to save you. So it worked well. Yeah, and it also calls back to Usopp in Water 7. I mean, there's lots of parallels. I thought it was done very well. And again, Usopp left the crew in an anger and a fight, whereas Sanji, they said you would expect Sanji to have to beg on his knees to come back. Sanji didn't leave the crew in anger. He never left, really. Well, he did during that fight with Luffy, but his intention was always to return, and Luffy knew he was lying. He never intended to leave of his own free will, so I don't think he needed to beg to come back. All right. That is the end of it. So, I will talk to you later. I'm off to the quick little short chapter arc, and then I will get that out because I'm going to be out of town next week, so that's going to be fun. And I can get a quick video up, hopefully. All right, I will talk to you later.